All right, so good evening again, and welcome. Math 123 in the synchronous format. So this is Tuesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. And so let's see. So a few things I've got to tell you about. One is that I'm still seeing so many people who have not even started assignment 4 and 5, which are due tomorrow. And that's pretty disappointing from my perspective. I only had about, I think, 3 or 4 people who started the section 6 assignment, or even took a peek at trying one of the answers. That's a little bit disappointing. So I want you to know, you got to stay on top of things. We can't. I mean, if you're going to be successful in this course, probably waiting until the last day the assignment's due to open it is not a good idea. Okay, so just keep that in the back of your head. And I'm putting this on the recording so you can hear it when you go back and check this out. Okay. I hope that you're finding the recordings I'm posting on that YouTube channel or whatever it's called. I hope you're finding that helpful, able to go back and check them out. Also, making sure that you're watching the videos that are posted in the Canvas course. All right. So this week, what's being assigned is web work number 6, and then the Excel descriptive statistics. And so that's what we're looking at today, descriptive statistics. And then quiz number 2 and discussion board 2. Okay, so that's what's coming due. Now, for your exam is going to be next week. So if you have not, wait. I just got myself a little bit confused. Yeah, so your exam is next week, and it looks like our review is next week in our class. So we'll do some review activities in our class, and then it says complete the review quiz before the exam. So for your exam, you want to make sure you do the review quiz before you take the actual exam, so you know what things are going to be like, and then the exam will be open from after, since our review is on Thursday. You can take your exam before our review session Thursday, and if you do, I guess you're not required to go to, or excuse me, not Thursday, Tuesday. If you take your exam before our class meets next Tuesday for this class, next Thursday for my other class, then there's no need to come to class since we're just reviewing. And then if you have not taken the exam by our review session next week, then yes, you'll be required to come to class and you'll lose points if you're not there. Okay? So if you have not scheduled your exam yet, you need to do that. Okay? So you need to do that at a testing center, or if you have to use ProctorU, you need to let me know so I can get it set up, because I don't have it set up yet for this semester. So shoot me an email if you're doing the ProctorU, if that's your situation. Otherwise, it's at your testing center. At your testing center, you need to have a government ID with you. So it'll be like a driver's license or something like that. Your school ID, they don't accept that anymore at the test centers on campus. So you have to use a government issued ID. Okay, so don't forget that when you go. And then calculators would be a scientific calculator you could use, not a graphing calculator, but a scientific one. And then they should provide you with scrap paper to show your work. Now, when you show your work, make sure that you actually show all your work, number the problems. If I have to try and decipher what your scrap paper looks like, then I'm probably not going to spend too much time with it. Okay. And I see that in the chat box, you guys are working out issues with pictures that didn't show up right away. Yeah, sometimes you have to wait for them to load. Did you guys get all that worked out? Yes or no? Shoot me a message in the chat box. Did you guys get the web work issue or concern worked out? Well, I don't believe that Saturday the test center is going to be open. Like it's a Monday through, like the test centers are generally a Monday through Friday. So you should schedule it that way, I guess. Oh, here's the thing too. So here's what I'm going to tell you. I am going to recommend that you do not schedule your exam on the last 2 or 3 days that it's available. Here's why. Because too many times, students schedule it the last day or the day before the last day, and then I get emails that day saying something happened, I can't take my exam, whatever. Emergencies come up. So please plan ahead and schedule it before the last day to take it. Okay. Scheduling it pretty soon after our review day would be a good idea, since we're going to spend all that time reviewing and things will be fresh, kind of, rather than scheduling it a week later. It doesn't make sense. So don't wait to the last minute. Schedule it a little bit early, because you don't, emergencies happen, things come up, and I don't want you to be stuck not being able to take your test. Okay, because I'm not going to extend the time. As a matter of fact, like my Tuesday class in all previous semesters had till Friday to take it. Okay, so this time you have till next Friday, I guess it would be. Okay, so make sure that or excuse me, if this was our review day, you would have until Friday to take it. Okay, but you're getting an extra week. So, treat it though as if you only had, a few days after class to take it. Don't put it out an extra week if you don't have to. Okay. So you can just go to the Ivy Tech homepage and you can look up testing centers there, click on your campus, bring up the information of what times they're open. And then this exam, if you give me just a second, I'll tell you the time. I think it's 90 minutes, but it's going to take me just a second here. I think it's a 90-minute one. So when you go to take your exam, you're going to have to click into your Canvas, go to Module 3, and then the test center will put in the password you need and not show it to you, of course. But they'll put the password in, and then you can go ahead and start your exam. So your exam is 90 minutes. Okay, so when you schedule your time, schedule it for 90 minutes. So generally the testing centers are open from like 8 to 5. Some of them might be open a little bit later. And make sure you check that out. Like I would check that out tonight after class or tomorrow, okay? And schedule it. Don't wait, because all these other classes, will be scheduling theirs at the same time. And you don't want to get stuck not being able to schedule your exam. Okay? All right, so I think that's enough on that. But like I said, get that thing scheduled right away is what I would do. And preferably after we review, but not at the end of the window, okay? All right, so let me just check my attendance one more time here. Got, oops, my mouse just left me. Okay, so I have to just see who I missed. I see Ashley, I see you came in. And I'm just trying to figure out who I missed here besides you. Okay, so give me just a second. All right, perfect. So the other question I have is, what type of exam is it? Well, hold on one second. Let me look up the details. So you can look this up, I believe, on your own. But let me look up mine. I don't want to show you my screen because it has things that yours doesn't have on it. My exam screen. But I can read it to you. It says Exam 1 covers Unit 1, Sections 1 through 6 of the course packet. This is a 21-question, 90-minute proctored exam. Students should be allowed a scientific calculator and paper to write their work on. For partial credit, the exam is worth a total of 100 points and is 20% of the course grade. You'll have one attempt. Once started, this test must be completed in one sitting. So there are some multiple choice. There are several that require you to work out the problems and type your answer in, like maybe it's a numerical answer. There are some that you have to maybe write a couple of sentences. Okay. And there's some that say you show your work, so make sure that you do that. It's just exam 1 is the name of the exams. When you're scheduling it, it's just Math 123 exam 1. So I think there's one or two more questions in here. Let me see. Yeah, so if you're going to use ProctorU, you need to shoot me an email like right away so I can get it set up, because I do not have the exam set up in ProctorU at this point. I'll have to do that. Okay. So for ProctorU, it costs money to use that service. So if you can use the testing center that's nearest you, that's a good financial decision a lot of times. If you absolutely can't, then ProctorU is what you have to do. You might be in Georgia or something. Use ProctorU, or we can work out some other things if there's other ways to do that too. Yes, our next session for class next week is our review session. And then the following week we'll start the next unit section 7. All right, so let me go ahead and do this with this section 6 and get through this so we can look at the project also and have enough time to do that, okay? So section 6 is all about descriptive statistics and weighted averages. And so we're starting here on page 56, and it says, you may have guessed that life expectancy represents an average age at death. An average is a single value used to best represent a group of values. The words mean and average are often used interchangeably, but there are several descriptive statistics that describe an average or central tendency. So we have these 3 that we're going to look at: the mean, the median, and the mode. And the mean is the sum of values divided by how many values there are. The median is the middle number. It's also called the 50th percentile. So it's the middle number when you line all the numbers up from left to right, from least to greatest. And then if there are an even number of numbers, there's actually 2 middle numbers, and you have to actually find the average of the 2 middle ones. So whatever's halfway between the 2 middle numbers. And then the mode is the value or values which appear the most. So if there are 10 numbers and 3 of them show up twice, and the other ones all show up once, then those 3 numbers would be your modes. And if all of the numbers show up the same number of times, then there is no mode. Like if you have 10 numbers and 5 of them are 2s and 5 of them are 4s, then there's no mode because all the numbers appeared the same number of times. So let's look at these examples here. It says here, consider a random sample of death certificates from a particular location with the following ages. And they give us 4, 7, 12, 22, 34, 46, 55, 58, 63, and 76. And it asks us to find the life expectancy at birth by finding the average at death for the 10 people provided above. So there's 10 numbers there. We're going to find the average. So what we're going to do is we're just going to add all those numbers together and then divide by how many numbers there are. So there are 10 numbers. Add those all up and divide by 10. So if you add all those numbers together, you get 37.7. And, if you add all those numbers up together, you get 377. And then divide by 10, you get 37.7. So it says, calculate the median age at death. So now we're looking for the middle number. Well, since there are 2 middle numbers, we have to find the average of those. So the way we would do that is we would add 34 plus 46 and divide that by 2. So this is 80 divided by 2, or 40. So the middle of that group of numbers is 40. Even though it's not on there, the median does not have to be one of the actual numbers. And it says, how does the mean compare to the median? So 37.7 is the mean, 40 is the median. How do they compare? And here we want to start using our quantitative reasoning. So we could say something like, the mean is more than 2 years less than the median. Yeah, something like that. So, the mean something with that type of terminology in there would be good. All right, so let's look at what happens next. So the next one says life expectancy at age 20. That means that if you live to be age 20, how old would you expect to live if you at least made it to 20 years old? So we go back here. I'm going to erase my marks I already have on here. Okay, so the first group of numbers is everybody who was born out of those 10 people. Now let's look at the survivors if they at least made it to age 20. So we're going to cross these ones out. Now all of the rest, all the remaining ones, live to be at least age 20, so we can find the life expectancy at age 20. So now we're going to add up the remaining numbers, those 7 numbers, and then divide by 7. It looks like you are getting 50.6. I agree, 50.6. So it says calculate the average life at death of those who survived to age 60. So now, for the number 5, we cancel out those ones because none of those people made it to age 60. So now we only have these 2 left. So now we're going to add those up and divide by 2. And the ones who, the life expectancy at age 60, so those who made it to age 60, would be 69.5. Awesome job, everybody. And then it says, what would this value be called? And that would be the life expectancy at age 60. And it's really for just this group of 10 people. All right. So now let's see. Now we have calculate. It says, suppose there was an error and the oldest age of death should have been 84 instead of 76. So let's look back at this information here. I need to get rid of all my markings. Just take me a second here. So now we're saying what would happen if they made a mistake and this 76 was actually supposed to be an 84. So let's cross out the 76 here. Oops. And throw an 84 in. So now we're going to add, instead of it being 377, it's going to be, it looks like 8 more than that. So 385 divided by 10. 38.5. And again, when it asks for the mean, it's really asking for the average. Now let's calculate the median. So the median, again, is the middle number. And it so happens that these are still the middle numbers, and so the median is going to be 40 again. It doesn't change. So explain what happened to the mean and the median when 76 was changed to 84. Well, the mean, let's see, the mean went up, it increased, and the median stayed the same. And that's because we didn't change the number of numbers that we had, and we didn't change those middle 2 numbers, so that is why the median stayed the same. All right, so this one here on page 57 It's at the bottom of page 57. And let's see. Good, I see you guys putting those answers in the chat box. Yes, that's correct. So let's see. I want you just to take a minute or two and find the answer to number 2A and B, and don't put them in the chat box. Just put a hand raise up when you have those two answers. All right, so I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. All right, so it looks like most of you have your hand raised up, so that's good. So we're going to get rolling here. So it says here, the following data set represents the number of people in each car entering a park for a randomly selected group of 15 cars. So the first thing we should really do is put them in order from least to greatest, and so I'm going to do that right here. So 1, we have a 1, we have a 2, looks like there are 4 3s, and then let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 4s, 3 5s, a 6, and a 7. So there they are in order, 15 numbers, and it says which value is the mode. So the first answer, which of those is the mode? That means which number appears the most number of times? So 3 and 4 are the modes. They both appear 4 times, so there are 2 modes, 3 and 4. So part B says, so awesome job, and you had to count basically, it's bimodal, yep. And so we're looking at part B that says find the mean and the median. Well, I'm going to find the median first. There are 15 numbers, and so what we do is divide by 2 and go up to the next whole number. So 15 divided by 2 is 7, so the next whole number is 8. So the 8th number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, looks like that 4 is the middle number. So the median is 4. And now we need the mean. And so we're going to calculate the mean by adding all of those up and then dividing by 15. And so let's see. What do we get when we add those up? 59, I think. So 3.93. So a little bit less than 4. So the mean here is a little bit less than the median. And it says this set of data is more symmetrical. The mean, median, and mode are all close in value. The majority of the values fall near the middle of the data range. So you have these two out here, these two out here, and then everything else is pretty bunched together as 3s, 4s, and 5s. So just a note about this data being symmetrical. So we're going to skip a couple of pages and jump over to page 62 and start our discussion of weighted averages. So Ashley's question is, for the mean, do you always go to the second decimal place? No, up here we didn't, but I wanted just to distinguish that that number is different than this one. So that was really for emphasis. So, I mean, if I was in application, I might take it out a couple more decimal places. If I was, doing a real application in real life, you'll probably be asked to do it to a certain decimal place on your work in this class. So it might say, take it out to the 10th place or take it out to the 100th place. So your word choice of saying always, do we always? Well, I don't like to use the words always or never. So I'm always going to say follow the directions for that particular problem. Okay. All right. So any questions on mean, median, and mode? I think that's kind of old news, I think, for everybody. It should be anyway. All right. Well, let's look at this weighted average then. So weighted averages, there are 2 different ways that we're going to calculate weighted averages. And method 1 is called weighted average by counts. So it says method 1 uses counts, or how many there are of each value. When using counts, the numerator should be a grand total of the sum of the counts multiplied by the corresponding value, and the denominator is the sum of the counts. So, well, I think once we do this example, you'll get a better understanding. So it says weighted averages are particularly useful when we want to emphasize some quantities more than others. For instance, in calculating a GPA, we would like to determine the average grade earned per credit hour. What value should be used to weight each course? So if we look at this example number 1 or problem number 1, it says an A is equal to 4 points, a B is 3 points, a C is 2, a D is 1, and an F is 0. So this is how many points you earn for a particular letter grade. And what we do to calculate a GPA is we take the number of credits at that particular grade and we get a value. So for the first one, a C is worth 2 points. So we would do 3 times 2, 3 credits times 2 points. And then for the anatomy and physiology grade, there are 4 credits, add an A, which is 4 points, so we do 4 credits times 4 points. For the lab, 2 credits times a B, which is 3 points, so 2 credits times 3 points is 6, and then IVY 101, 1 credit, add an A, better be an A, times 4, 1 times 4. And what we do is we add up the number of credits, so these would be like the counts, the credits, how many credits were attempted, that would be the count. So 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we take this total of all the points that they earned. So 6, 6, 12 plus 20 looks like 32. And then the GPA would be the total of the value times the count divided by all of the counts together. So they would have a 3.2 GPA, which is a B plus, I guess. All right, so that's how we do method 1. Now, method 2 is more like calculating a grade in a class. So this would be like calculating a GPA, or method 2 would be like the class grade. So the way we do method 2, it says it uses percent weights, where the sum of the weights must be 100%. Multiply each value by its weight and add. So look at the process that we just did. We multiplied, added, and then divided. So we multiplied, then we added, then we divided. For method 2, we're going to multiply, and then we're going to add. Okay, and actually I'm going to put this like a little ghost D right here. It's really divide, multiply, and add. But that division we're going to do kind of in our head. So the division that I'm talking about here is changing the weight because it's a percent. We don't normally multiply with a percent. We normally move the decimal 2 places to the left, and we multiply by 0.60. That would be dividing by 100. That's why I'm saying divide first. We're really dividing by 100, moving the decimal. So this would be, so the way I would write this is I would write it as 0.6 times 85, because that's what we're actually doing. And then let's see what else it says here. If your average is 85 on tests, 100% on homework, so I have to fill this in, 100 on homework, and 85% on quizzes, what is your final course grade? So the weight is like in your syllabus. Let me see if I can find mine here. So in the syllabus, it shows the weight of the grades. Assignments 10%, discussions 5%, projects 10, quizzes 5, review quiz 5, exam 1 and 2 are 20 each, and exam 3 is 25 for a grand total of 100%. So this is what it means by a weight. So our grades are a weighted grade in this course. So each category carries a certain percentage of the final grade. So let's see. Next I would do 0.15 times 100. And then we would be doing 0.25 times 85. So let's see what these are. It looks like this is 51 and 15 and 21.25. So we divided by moving the decimal, then we multiplied. Now we're going to add our answers together. So we have 51 plus 15 plus 21.25 is 87.25%. So those are our two methods. And let's see, before we do number 1 on page 64, I want to look at number 2. So I'm going to do this one first. So it says a new local cafe wants to advertise an average price for their meal. Help them figure out an average if they sold 60 of their $5 tacos, 32 of their $7 sandwiches, and 24 of their $8 mixed salads on a given day. And so which of the two methods that we just looked at would this be similar to? Method 1 with the GPA or method 2 with the class grade? Oh my gosh, you guys are all split on this. Well, if we look at this, number 2 right here, we have a number, so 60 tacos, $5. So the way we relate that is it's kind of like method 1, where we have 3 credits and each one is worth 2 points. So there's no percentage like there is in method 2. There's no percentage in there. So number of credits times its value. So number 2 is number times value. And then each one, so plus, and then the same thing, plus, and then divided by the total number. So it's like, I'm scrolling up here, I know fast and furious, but whoops, it's like this right here. The number, the value of the item times the number of items, value of the salad times the number of salads, value of the taco times the number of tacos, and then the number of items that were sold. All right, so here we go. Number, so 60 times the $5 plus 32 times the $7 plus 24 times $8 divided by the number of items. So let's see, the number of items, it looks like 60 items, 60 tacos, 32 sandwiches, 24 salads. So we're going to group the numerator into pieces. We're going to do each of these so that the order of operations comes out right. So let's see what this looks like. And if you put in your calculator correctly, you don't have to separate it. You can just do 60 times 5 plus. So this is 300, and then 32 times 7 is 224. And then 24 times 8 is 192, and then add all those up. So 300 plus 224 plus 192, 716 divided by 116. So the average cost, the weighted average, would be $6.17, it looks like. So $6.17 per meal or $6.17 per item would be the average. All right, so this last one, I saved this for last because this one is like your project. So on your project, you're going to have to calculate a weighted average. We have different categories. So I want you to see, let me just read it first. It says your friend is in a science class where the grades are weighted as follows. This should be an S after that, follow. Lab reports are 20%, quizzes are 20%, the midterm is 30%, and the final is 30%. Help your friend calculate his final grade in the class if he has earned the following grades. So notice the multiple grades for the lab reports, 88, 70, 75, 82, and 70. What we need to do is find the average of the lab reports and take it times their weight in the class. Then we need to find the average of the quizzes times the quizzes weight in the class. The midterm and the final, there's only one of each, so there's not much to do there. So let's do this. Lab reports. We're going to do 88 plus 70 plus 75 plus 82 plus 70. And we're going to find the regular average, so divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, divided by 5, and we'll get the category average. And I see someone has that 77. Yeah, so the category average is a 77. Then we're going to take the quizzes and we're going to do the same thing. So quizzes, we're going to do 60%, 78%, 90%, and 86%. And we're going to divide that group by 4, it looks like. There are 4 grades. And let's see what that comes out to be. That is 78.5. All right, so to calculate the whole grade, the final grade, so the final grade is going to be the lab reports, the quizzes, the midterm, and the final. So let's see what these come out to be. So the lab reports are 20% of the grade, so I'm going to do 0.2 times 77. The quizzes are 0.2 times 78.5. The midterm is 30%, so 0.3 times 76. And the final is, let's see, 30%, so 0.3 times 54. We'll get each of these values and we can just add them up to get the total. So let's see, 0.2 times 77 is 15.4. And then we have 0.2 times 78.5, and that's 15.7. 0.3 times 76 is 22.8. And then 0.3 times 54. Looks like 16.2. We're going to add all those up, and that would be the student's grade in the class. So 15.4 plus 15.7 plus 22.8 plus 16.2. And their grade would be a 70.1%. All right, so that is the story on averages, weighted averages. The story on descriptive statistics, mean, median, mode, averages, and weighted averages. So take a look through what we just did. Take a minute, look through what we just did, and see if you have any questions. And while you're doing that, I'll pull up our project number 1. All right, Kaylee, do you have a question for me? Nope. Okay. I saw a hand raise in there. All right, any questions on the stuff we have just done? I know it was a lot and it was fast. All right, well, let's talk about your project then. So let me review here. The project due date, I think the project is due on the 23rd also. I would have to look in your syllabus. I don't have it in front of me. But the first project is called a weighted gradebook project. And maybe, whoops, I don't know what just happened. Maybe it should look like this, a weighted gradebook project. So it says here, the idea here in this project, whoops, I don't have it up for you, do I? Oh yeah, I do, okay. So it says here, understanding how weighted averages work will be a very important topic for you in this course, since your grades are determined this way. In this project, you will create an Excel spreadsheet that can create a Math 123 student's final grade. You will then write a reflection paper answering several questions regarding your project. So it says here in this project, we'll do the following. Create an Excel spreadsheet that will be capable of calculating a student's final grade in this course. Keep in mind that weighting is involved in determining the final grade. Your Excel spreadsheet should contain the following. And then there's a list of things it should contain. Now, you're going to have to use formulas in Excel to do this. I don't want you putting the numbers in and then calculating everything on your calculator and then punching numbers in. Okay, so there it says there's an Excel reference sheet in Ivy Learn's Excel help module. So you're going to do an Excel sheet. You're also going to type a reflection paper that is at least 1 page long. Remember that we're looking for responses that are backed by values that support your statements. On this type reflection, you should have your name, course name, and project name, an explanation of how the final grade is calculated, analyze and reflect, and then there are some different things here. The student wishes, so I'm looking right here now, the student wishes to know what changes she could have made to increase her grade to the next higher letter grade. Could the student receive the next higher letter grade by improving any individual score from any category? Is it possible? Oh, if it is possible, what was the minimum new score that would achieve an increase of a letter grade for her course grade? And then it says, consider at least 2 scenarios for this question. If not possible, explain why. So these 2 scenarios are going to be 2 different spreadsheets. So at the bottom of your first spreadsheet, there's a little button you can do to add a second spreadsheet. And you can just copy from the first one into the second and then highlight the changes you're making. And then it also says the student also has questions about how the module quizzes were scored and shows the scores. And it says, note that the scores for these quizzes are listed in the data as percentages equivalent to these ratios. Could scoring out of points rather than percentages affect the category average for the quizzes? Explain why or why not. And then another scenario. So look through the scenarios. It looks daunting, I know, but really it's not. And then quantify your statements. Don't just give, it was this percent or it was this much more. Be starting to, give explanations in your answers, okay? And then let's see, you should be using Excel functions. It should be your original work. Copying someone else's work is cheating. Okay, so, and sharing work with someone else is cheating. So I will know, trust me, I will know if it is somebody else's work. Don't even tempt me on this one, okay? So it says submit both the Excel and the Word document. And then here are the scores that you have. So homework, quizzes, review quizzes, projects, discussion boards, exam 1, 2, and final. And you are going to use the your weights from your own syllabus that's in our course that I just showed you a few minutes ago. All right. And then what I want to do is I have just a few minutes left. So let me pull up an Excel spreadsheet here. So I'll give you an example. And what I'll do is I'll post a video of a project that was done in the past. It might not match this one exactly, but it'll show you how Excel works and what I'm looking for. So let's say in their homework category, they had these scores, okay? And what we would want to do is we want to get an average. So, oops, I'm going to type this in the next box over. So this would be the category average. So we'd have like a homework. Maybe this is homework up here, okay? Center that. So what we would do is we're going to use a formula. I want to use the average formula. And I got that by clicking this FX. If it doesn't show up right away, you can, let me try that again. So if it doesn't show up, you can type it up here, and then it'll bring it into your window. So we're gonna hit OK. Oops, that's not what I wanted, right? Okay, so click average, and then highlight the cells that you want to add together and find the average of. So this calculates it for me. This way, if I change a grade, okay, oh, I made a mistake, they got 100%, it automatically recalculates the average. And let's say we do that for quizzes also. So 85, 95, and 62. So they're quiz grades. So I'm going to go down here to the same level, and I'm going to put my formula in, average. I'm going to average those three together, and it gives me that new score. So how do you submit it? When you go, okay, when you find the project in your modules, you'll see that there's a submission button there. Okay, and you want to add the files to it. Make sure it's an Excel and a Word doc. So then you're going to have to get the final grade. And when we do the final grade, you should be giving me your own formula, not the product sum feature of Excel, but give me your own formula. So over here you'll have homework, quizzes. Homework is whatever percent it was, I don't remember. I'm going to have to format my cells. So that's a percent, that's a percent. So 10%. And let's say quizzes are 5%. And you have your list down here, make a table, box it in, make it look nice, right? And then what you're going to do is you're going to say, to calculate my final grade, I'm going to start by putting an equal sign. I'm going to take my homework times the homework percent plus the quiz percent times the quiz weight. And then keep doing that for each of the categories. And then when you're done, you'll have your formula. Okay, so now it looks low because I don't have your exam reviews and your exams and your discussion boards. But when you get done, these should be 100%. When you add all these up, it should total to 100, just like it does in the syllabus. Okay, and then to make a new sheet, so to do the different scenarios, what you can do is you can click up here in the top left corner, and it highlights everything. And then right click and put copy, hit the little plus sign here on the bottom, go up here, click it again to highlight the whole new page, right click and click paste, and it puts everything in there. And then you can make your changes. Let's say they made 100% on all their homeworks. You see how it's changing my numbers automatically for me? That's my expectation. Okay. And then if you want to add a new sheet, you can do that. And then again, highlight the whole thing, right click, whoops, didn't let me do it this time. Highlight, right click, copy. You should probably copy the original one, not page 2, but there you go. You can put your things back in, and it brings all those formulas. So now we changed, let's say they missed a quiz, they got a 0 on it. See how it changed the quiz average and the grade average? Okay, so those things should automatically happen in your Excel sheet. And again, what I'll do is I'll post a little help video to kind of guide you through some of the specifics here. There's the Excel help videos also in Learn. And I don't know if you look actually at page 66 in your book, that also gives you some idea of a formula where it says on line 12 in the picture, it says weighted average and it has C4 times D4 plus C5 times D5 plus C6 times D6. So that's what your formula right in that spot should look like. Put an equal sign in it first, you know. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for, just so you have a brief idea. And again, next week when we do our review, you can ask questions about your project. We'll probably have time to do that.